crypto asset? Which one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best? 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 What's the second best?
This is Discover Crypto, and on today's episode, we're going to talk about why did Bitcoin crash and how low can we potentially go. And we are joined today with TJ. TJ, welcome back. Are you ready to talk about the bear market? Was that the bear market? Is the bear market over? We're going to be talking about all of these issues today. Hey, how are you doing, TJ?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I'm actually feeling
right.
What's that?
You were up to something yesterday, weren't you?
I was very busy. We were doing a lot of different stuff. But yeah, I'm feeling great, feeling energized. I actually love, it feels alive again. So yeah, smash the like buttons if you love volatility, if you love the fact that we are not in a boring market. But yes, yesterday was very active for us, obviously, or some of you know this, maybe some of you don't. A big part of what we do here is DeFi. So we, earn a lot of money through DeFi and through concentrated liquidity pools. And when you get massive swings like that, there's insane opportunity because when concentrated liquidity pools, it's all ranges. And when it drops that fast, there's nobody providing liquidity at some of those lower ranges. Like the main one we like to do, because we're obviously maxis on digital assets, so I don't want to give up my exposure. So it's mostly a wrapped Bitcoin ETH pair that we do. So they're fairly correlated. And so even if I lose Bitcoin exposure, I'm getting Ethereum exposure and vice versa. But there was nobody providing liquidity for like a Bitcoin from, 60 to 65 or 59 to 67. So there was briefly some opportunities for like crazy 9,000. Oh, you forgot Casual Friday. So yeah, he's
coming off, baby. The tie's coming off.
Wow. He's gonna turn from Men in Black to Black Magic on us.
If I had pants,
Magic Mike, I'd
take those off. Yeah, a lot of volatility. As TJ was saying, a lot of opportunities to make money. Look at that 1 hour candle right here. These are 1 hour candles. This is 7 p.m. last night. We're going to talk about a lot of the issues that we're seeing. It's going to be some related to the stock market, some related to ETFs and hedge funds, and maybe a little bit related to what's happening in the Middle East. And we're going to break down all of these issues. I do want to look at the crypto market. We just hit refresh. Bitcoin is up now 2% and ETH is up 2%. So we're seeing a nice little bounce here. 15% pump for XRP. XRP was basically the largest dumper yesterday. And now we're starting to see a nice little pump to the upside. 24-hour candle, it looks crazy. The 7-day candle, the chart here looks crazy. Nice V-shaped recovery there for XRP. The XRP bulls, they're quite happy about that. Big gainer. So it went from the biggest loser to the biggest gainer. And we also see Nexo and Flare. And how about that, TJ? Morpho.
Let's go.
Also with the major pump there. Astra's up, Caspa, Hedera, Knight. Seen a lot of, and then WorldCoin. A lot of stronger projects here, and looking to see what is still bleeding. Not a surprise, Trump's meme coin and World Liberty Fi leading the losses here, along with Providence Blockchain, HTX, and Monero. So Knight pumping, Monero dumping. Normally they move in lockstep, and Jupiter also pulling back, but you can see, fairly well on the 7-day compared to most of these other coins there. So TJ, how about that XRP pump?
No, it's great. I mean, they're really strong resolve, a lot of strong coins. I mean, obviously they got hammered yesterday, bounced back hard. I did see that question from Bob in accounting about the trading group in Discord. It is actually very much alive and well. They were crushing it yesterday. A ton of people in there made a lot of money. We flipped short before most of the action early in the morning, and they've been shorting even before that. So if you're not in there, the link is in the description. Get in. It's free to join, as long as you use one of our affiliates. So it's very easy. But
go in. You'll see trading signal calls over here, and you'll see you're going to see a sea of take profits. Take profits. I'll take profits. I'll take profits. And that's because, as TJ said, we jumped in the shorts largely before the move to the downside.
Absolutely. So yeah, you got to get verified in there. But no, I think, and I did see somebody saying, was that it? Fast recovery. I do think that very likely could have been the bottom. It was such a, we're going to get into why this happened yesterday. I mean, and what to expect kind of going forward. I do think we are I was buying obviously yesterday. So we're running liquidity
I bought.
pools. I didn't finish that, but basically some of those ranges were printing 9,000%, for a very short period of time because nobody was there. So we printed a lot in fees yesterday. We bought a lot of spot yesterday. Again, if you're in the trading group, John Dalton, one of our best kind of swing spot traders, they're not scalp or momentum. They're much more like multi-day or week or month kind of time periods. He said, he kind of deployed the rest of his dry powder in those, low 60s yesterday. So, yeah, he's an incredible trader, has been for years, been part of our community for a very long time. He also front ran a lot of the metals stuff and palladium and all of that. So, yeah, yesterday was a great day for the Disco fam. If you guys aren't a part of it, get in there. But yeah, I'm really, really pumped again about, everything that's going on in the market. We've got some big stuff. Part of why I haven't been able to be on the show as much is we've got some really big stuff, for the long term. We're working on kind of a private fund. I'll tell you guys more about that once, all the legal stuff is in place. But that being said, like the timing couldn't be better. Everything is setting up for an incredible run, incredible rally. If you're here now and if you're buying at these prices, you're going to be very, very, very happy you are. But yeah, now the next question is basically, do we recover quickly? Do we recover slowly? Not saying, by the way, I'm not saying it's up only from here. We could very easily reject off 69. We could very easily trade between 72 and 65 for a year.
We can go into the 50s.
Yeah, we could very easily test lower lows. I just think dramatically what happened yesterday very much reminded me of other COVID. I mean, we've got, we're going to talk about some geopolitical positioning that's happening right now that could all be, we could go back and retest that level very easily. So I'm not saying it's up only. I'm just saying this, we got fear and greed at a 5. That we're feeling very bottomish, which is very, very, very exciting. And yeah, I'll shout out to Crank. He did say 54 to 58. I know Frank is talking about that 59K level yesterday. I didn't think we'd see 50s. We saw 59 and change for, 10 minutes maybe, and then a very, very fast recovery. But yeah, you want to get into what?
Yeah, let's get into the stories here. Number one culprit that a lot of people are pointing the finger at is going to be the hedge funds, and this is why we're seeing Bitcoin crash. Now, this is a long post. I'm just going to read the highlighted portion, then read a quick summary. This was the highest volume day for BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF, IBIT, and it was the largest high volume day ever by a factor of nearly 2x. IBIT has become the number one venue for Bitcoin options trading. So this is going to be, think of it of a way of futures trading or leverage trading. So my guess is that a hedge fund trading BlackRock Bitcoin ETFs options is the culprit for the blow up. This leads me to think that the culprit was one or more Hong Kong-based non-crypto hedge funds. Here is, it's a long post there. I don't know what, it gets a little bit into the weeds. This is a good summary here. Yesterday, highest volume day ever, not by a little, but by a lot. Bitcoin and Solana also traded in perfect lockstep. Solana normally would fall harder, but it didn't. Centralized finance exchange liquidations relatively low. This was not a typical crypto cascade. May not have been on crypto rails, but on TradFi rails, traditional market rails. His simple theory is a hedge fund running options blew up. A couple players have 100% of their fund in BlackRock, but if their trade blows up, they can't touch their other assets. Most of these single asset funds are based in Hong Kong. Then it talks about some of what we have seen in here. So non-crypto fund, zero crypto counterparties, complete isolation from the usual information networks. And he's saying, he has a little bit of evidence that it could be some of these Hong Kong funds. The confirmation for this, they have several weeks here. There's a 13F filing, and it'll show a large position going to zero. But the problem is, if they did get liquidated yesterday, disclosure isn't required until 45 days after the quarter ends. So we won't see what happened yesterday until mid-May at the earliest. If it's true, word will get out. Something this big is too hard to hide. If they couldn't liquidate in time, they may have their own hole to fill here. Now, I kind of break it down. Why is this a strategy? Why do hedge funds do this? This is a perfect summary. Hedge funds. Many hedge funds don't just buy Bitcoin and hold it. They run complicated trades where they hold Bitcoin ETFs, but at the same time, they hedge, so they stay roughly neutral on price direction. So they'll hold Bitcoin, and if Bitcoin goes up, they make money. but they'll also bet on Bitcoin going down. So if it goes down, they make money. And there's a little bit of a difference here. Between the two assets, they can eke out a small profit. It's called arbitrage. These trades work fine when Bitcoin's calm, but now volatility jumped to 75%. Now margin costs, funding costs, margin calls, everything goes up. Risk managers will then say, this position's too dangerous, so cut it. And when that happens, they have to sell Bitcoin fast, even at bad prices, because the whole portfolio math breaks. That whole little arbitrage profit that you're making, you just dump everything because that's no longer there. They all sell at the same time. It's called common holder risk. Everyone owns the same thing and runs for the exit together, and there's not much liquidity, aka buyers, and so the price drops even more. So that's what a lot of people are pointing at, why these hedge funds blew up Bitcoin.
Yeah, and it's basically the traditional finance, and we have traditional money coming into crypto, which is good for volume, is good for increased number go up. It's bad considering the way that they run their businesses. They're very high risk. They do not. They're playing with other people's money, so their risk is much, much higher than most people in crypto. They like to run on a fractional system instead of an actual asset-backed system like crypto natives do. So what we were seeing, to DZ's point, what you just broke down was a great analysis, was hedge funds getting too risky. And then they also have risk assessment departments. And so what happens is all of a sudden that trade gets a little sideways and the risk team comes in and says, hey, you have to liquidate that by the rules, by the disclosures we've signed. We've said if this happens, we will change it. So you have to change it. And then fund 1 starts to change it. Oh, and then that makes the risk metric go off on fund 2 and fund 3 and fund 4. And to his point, most of what we see in IBIT are these type of funds, meaning or really across all ETFs, like 50 to 70% of the money that is in these ETFs are hedge fund directed. And so when they start to unwind a trade and they're all in the same trade, like you said, the common holder trade, that's when it all starts to unravel very quickly. And that's why you didn't see any relief yesterday. If you noticed, if you were watching the price action, normally you see a pullback, you get a little relief rally, and then maybe it dumps more. But it was just a stair step down over and over. We went down, sideways, down again, sideways, down again. And it kept doing that because these people were forced to unwind their positions. It wasn't an idea of like, hey, maybe we think it's going lower, we're bearish. It was, we have too much risk and we're at risk of blowing up our entire fund. You have to unwind this to survive. And like he said, they're usually very hedged trades for very small amounts, which in a lot of ways, this is very good. All leverage is wiped out. Tons of liquidity to the upside. Exchanges very incentivized to take us back up towards 100K. So yes, I mean, in a lot of ways, this was very healthy for our industry and somewhat of a foreshadowing of what we can expect when these people with a lot of risk start entering this market.
All right, so I don't understand shorts. One sentence, you will buy a IBIT call or a put option, and you'll say it's $100 today. Next month, it'll be $90. But you're also holding Bitcoin, and so if Bitcoin goes up, you're going to make money, and it will offset that $10 loss. But if it goes down, you make money. And so they're just betting on it to go down in the future. And with the options, there's a finish line. You're saying it's going to be this date in June, this date in July. Now, I do want to talk about the volatility. The volatility was record breaking. Bitcoin volatility is now 75%. Every spike in volatility has marked a bottom. This one, May 2021 crash. This one, Terra Luna. This one, Celsius. This one, FTX. Folks, we are here. We are here. So is this the exact bottom? It might not be, because think, if you would have said that at Terra Luna, you'd go even lower with Celsius. And then if you thought that was the bottom, we'd go even lower with FTX. But that was the bottom right there. So we're in a local bottom zone for sure. And that's my 2 cents there. Now, my guess, this is from Franklin B. This guy knows more about markets than anybody on crypto Twitter, any crypto YouTube. I'll go ahead and say this guy's the general partner at Pantera Capital. Pantera Capital is one of the most successful venture funds out there. OG in the space here. My guess is it's not a crypto trading firm, but someone large outside of crypto, likely based in Asia. Very few crypto native counterparties. Hence why no one has sifted them out just yet. So we're starting to see just a lot of fingers pointing to this, but we also have some other analysis that me and TJ are going to do. We're going to look at some stock market issues. Also, we got to talk about this, TJ. NASDAQ
Yes, yeah.
requested the SEC remove the options cap. So meaning these Wall Street firms, these hedge funds can crank up the leverage. And they did it immediately without the standard 30-day waiting period. The caps were removed 21st. Bitcoin went cliff diving on the 29th. So something interesting right there as well.
Well, and this is kind of what I'm talking about, the traditional games that get played when, margin requirements get upgraded because they don't want to break. And then all of a sudden somebody's out of balance with their leverage and their risk. Now they're like, oh, we need to crank this up to make it more. And then you could go lower. This is very unlikely for a company like NASDAQ to make a request like this and to push it through so quickly. This is where somebody, was likely already on the verge of broken or breaking when they made that request. And the fact that this happened so quickly, like this is the world we're getting into now. It's almost like if you guys have been here long enough and you remember when CME first launched Bitcoin and Ethereum futures and allowed funds to be able to take these types of positions, it was very bad for the price for a significant amount of time. And also it gives them a lot more tools to manipulate the price in the direction that they need to. So yeah, it's and this is where like being the right person that knows the right person to push these things through, this is why laws are somewhat they're laws for thee and not for me a lot of times, especially when you're dealing with the financial world. And we just saw it right there. There's a law in place that says this needs to take 30 days so that people can't take advantage of that. And they just pushed it right through. And yeah, very much feel like that was something breaking, probably a large fund, which in a lot of ways I will say is good. Now, I know people don't like that. If you're down, I do want to give you a little bit of relief there. A lot of people I know, if you're new to this space, you bought in at 120s, you bought at really high prices of altcoins or Bitcoin, you're down bad today. And hearing veterans in this space like us say, this is healthy, this is good, just stick it out, is sometimes difficult to hear. I was that person in 2018. I bought the peak top in 2018 and thought, oh my goodness, I watched it drop all of 2018. I bought in, really I was buying in 2017, but also bought the top January 2018, rode it all the way down, listened to people that understood markets say, oh, this is healthy, this is good, it's going to come back better and stronger. And it didn't feel like that to me at the time. That was, Bitcoin price going to $3,000 back then. And, here we are, people upset about a $50,000 or $60,000 Bitcoin. But I do want to encourage you, if that's you right now at home, this is what we needed, and this is going to be very, very good in the near future. Within a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you're going to, if you're buying it right now at these levels, you will not regret it in the future. I just want to give you that encouragement.
We got someone pointing out really, really good analysis here. Thank you, Dill, for putting this deal on our radar here. Bitcoin dominance broke out of a downward range yesterday, and you are certainly correct. You can see it right there. We had not tracked this, and you saw me move the white line. I haven't seen this yet. Yeah, that is a very, very long-term trend line. This first established January 24, so it touched once, twice, 3, 4, 5, and it looks like on the 6th time is breaking to the downside. And this move looks a little bit more serious than the move over here. I would say we might finally, I don't want to say alt season, but we're finally going to have some alts claw back some of their gains from Bitcoin, but only your alts, chat, only your alts, Disco fam. Now, from rules for thee, but not for me, indicators for thee, but not for me, I do feel good. A lot of people are saying, so this was just complete BS.
Yeah.
We were telling you that, hey, this cycle is broken. We hit a new all-time high before the halving. And a lot of this, me and TJ were having discussions like, well, I don't think this is going to trigger. I don't think it will have a buy signal. And so just be careful looking at these bull market indicators. This cycle is different. And if you need any kind of evidence, here's your evidence. This worked perfectly in 21. I won't say perfectly, but worked very well in 2021. Did not work whatsoever in 2025. So when people are saying, well, it has to do X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D, T, it doesn't have to do any of those things. Bitcoin, the institutions are here. It's a new game. Let's talk about why else we are seeing a little bit of a crash here. So we talked about BlackRock, their IBIT. That volume was really, really crazy. As Eric Balchunas says, it crushed its daily volume record yesterday. Balchunas added that it dropped 13% on the day. It's the second worst daily price drop since it launched. So IBIT was just absolutely crushed. We have Bob Elliott. He was voted most likely to open a Chevy dealership. Bob Elliott, who said he's the investment chief at Unlimited Funds, said that the average dollar invested in IBIT is now underwater as the market closed, which marked another painful day. The latest crash comes as the market reacts to weak U.S. jobs market data and growing concern over the substantial capital being poured into the AI sector. This is actually kind of maybe saying it backwards. People are worried that there's not enough capital being poured into particular AI sectors, but also that the job market numbers is not great. The planned layoffs tripled in January, the highest level since 2009, signaling a sharp cooling in the jobs market despite still strong official payroll data. We told you it was going to be a volatile week. One of the things on the radar was the job numbers, but it's not just job numbers. Strategy, their earnings came in at 4 p.m., absolutely tanked. Strategy and Amazon. Strategy, $12 billion loss. This is going to be unrealized losses for Bitcoin. End up falling 17%. Is driven by the 22% fall quarter over quarter with their Bitcoin holdings. They said despite the loss, revenues actually rose 2% year on year to 123 million, driven in part by its business intelligence arm. So they're starting to make a little bit more money. Also, they have no major debt maturing until 27, meaning it's not under immediate pressure to repay borrowings. Michael Saylor, he's out there. He's making the rounds. He says Bitcoin would need to fall below $8,000 and stay there for 5 years before the company would have a problem. TJ, I would say that's a pretty good sign. But then there was this. Caleb Franzen, he's posted this probably 10 times.
Yep.
Keep saying, I can't believe it's still on the website. Can't believe it's still on the website. What are they talking about? It's the 1 year returns, and the 1 year returns look terrible for MicroStrategy compared to gold, compared to Google, Nvidia, Apple,
basically everything. Yeah,
basically everything. It's like the worst asset. I can't believe he still has it on the chart. Like 12 hours later, they actually updated their website, and now they're saying, "Oh, well, now we're measuring from Bitcoin era, no longer 1 year."
Well, but yeah, because they also
when
crashed.
They started.
You can't say all time because it crashed back in 2002 when it was a software company, 2000 also, and so now that's basically the last 5 years or so. So yeah, I mean, shout out to him. I can't imagine. There was a lot going on yesterday. I can't imagine having to hop on and do an earnings call. Right at yesterday afternoon, they did manage to go through that without mentioning the.
I mean, that guy's crying.
Yeah,
he's like.
I saw the thing there. Yeah, Lawrence Leopard looks sick. I mean, you had. Tom Lee from Bitmine on there too. He's probably the only one who can understand how Saylor's feeling better than anybody else, because Bitmine also down $6 to $8 billion. I don't know exactly what it was. So, but this is a good reminder, guys, that one day the momentum and the feeling of one day does not reflect the overall sentiment of what they're doing. I think they're both very confident and not feeling shaken. Now, remarkably, they made it through the entire call without mentioning the price of Bitcoin on the day one time. So. But yeah, I think, like you said, they're not really in any peril because they don't manage that fund the way traditional finance does. Traditional finance can't handle drawdowns like what we just saw. But one that's capitalized as well as they are, as little leverage as they have, they're going to be fine. I wish I bought. I'm waiting and waiting. I've been waiting. Strategy's been down. I'm looking to buy some strategy stock here very soon. Probably more or less just waiting for the Kraken account to be set up. But, these are the types of times where you get some Bitcoin, you pick your favorite Ethereum, Solana, Link, whatever it is, get some strategy, maybe get some STRC if you want some revenue generating dollars. Like, these are the times where you set yourself up for decades or generations, and I know, like you said, you bought yesterday, Drew. I know, I'm DZ, you bought yesterday. I know Drew bought. We bought substantially. So yeah, I'm very, very excited to be in crypto right now. Now, I did see this comment here, and I tend to agree with this. Back when we were talking about indicators, the best indicators according to Rifleman is the fear and greed. And that I 100% agree. It's been one of the simplest, easiest ones to follow. When fear is peak fear, that's when you buy. When greed is high, that's when you sell. It's literally that simple. It hit a 5 yesterday, one of the lowest it's probably ever hit. That's the time to be making purchases. When it's up in the 50s, 60s, 70s, that's probably the time to take some profits. Don't overthink it. That's one of the things I think most people, especially retail, They like to feel like they're, very sophisticated traders, and they spend a lot of time overthinking different things. If you just keep it really simple, some of the people that I've seen perform the best, just, they buy when, times like this, and then they forget about it for a year or two. And then they come back around like, oh man, everybody's talking about Bitcoin again. Prices are near all-time highs or at all-time highs. I think I'm going to set like my sister, for example. She barely pays attention, and she bought like 17K last cycle, sold at 110, and bought yesterday, and she'll probably sell it at 300 again. So she's turned, again, it's not a huge amount of money, but I think $5,000 into more than $50,000. So 10xing your money in a handful of years. She paid off her house. Good for her.
All right, chat, should I buy a MicroStrategy option? I will buy it live. Let me know. Type in yes, type in no. Yes or no. Should I buy an option? It's trading around 125. MicroStrategy can double fairly quickly, and 125 to 225, saying it could do it by March 20th, so 42 days from now. Very unlikely, but people are just betting on the possibility of it happening, and it does look like there's a little bit of a mismatch with the price right here. A couple of these cheaper options are looking really good, and you go too high on the risk curve, those will go to 0 cents really, really quickly. But if I were looking out, I would just maybe I would jump in on that one right there.
So how much will that change? Like, can you wait for the weekend if we get, because there's, again, we're not out of the woods yet. If we reject off 69, we could go back to, where we just were yesterday, especially on a low liquidity weekend. We're going to talk about, some war stuff a little bit later. I
went up 2 pennies. We're already up 4%, and I didn't pull the trigger yet.
You can't buy these over the weekend, right? You'd have to wait till Monday.
Yep.
My gut says wait till Monday. Like, I know the chat just said yes, overwhelmingly yes.
We're doing it. We don't care.
Right. You got to do what the
maniacs.
chat says.
We're maniacs.
I would wait until, because we got some action coming this weekend, in my opinion.
Hey, trigger's already pulled, man. Trigger's already pulled. Can't let that genie out. All right, now let's talk about what we're seeing in the geopolitics too. We're seeing some with Amazon. Remember, I did mention Amazon. Also, IREN. IREN is going to be basically giving up on Bitcoin. The earnings showed weaker than expected headline results. The company missed consensus on revenue and earnings per share as it accelerates its transition from Bitcoin mining to AI cloud. Now, Wall Street Journal has a really good breakdown on Amazon, so I'm going to jump over here. Amazon fell 10%. It has now fallen only, quote unquote, only 8% for the day. Amazon falling 8% for the day is very, very insane, folks. So Amazon,
yes,
it is down very heavily. You need to be celebrating your Bitcoin being in the green today. So Amazon's down 8%. Shares fell sharply. Why did Amazon shares fall? Well, Amazon Web Services revenue rose. It rose 24% compared with the year earlier. You're like, all right, well, its revenue's jumping 24%. Why is the stock going down? Well, this is why. Microsoft's, theirs went up 39%. And Google parent company Alphabet, Google's revenue was up 48%. So we got a 48% increase, 39% increase. Amazon coming in with a paltry 24% year-over-year increase. The markets are saying, no. The billions of dollars spent on data centers has led to increased scrutiny. Companies like Amazon that spell space in the data center area for AI businesses. Here's the tell. Any slowdown in growth would fuel concerns that the AI boom could become a bubble. So we have MicroStrategy dumping, we have IREN dumping, and from IREN to Iran, we also have some other issues going on over there. U.S. Iran warning resurfaces ahead of nuclear talks, further pressuring Bitcoin in the crypto markets. Again, I'm just going to go to the Wall Street Journal. It's a little bit more of a detailed breakdown. This is kind of what I have been saying. So U.S. wants Tehran to stop enriching. They want them to curb its enrichment program, curb the missile program, and end its support for regional proxies like a Hezbollah. Iran said it's willing to only discuss the nuclear work. Their missiles off the table, regional proxies off the table. That's not what the U.S. wants. But Iran's top leaders are digging in. They're showing little readiness to compromise on the core issue of ending enrichment and threatening to trigger a regional war if the U.S. attacks. They're also taking a hard line at Washington, D.C., saying late yesterday it wants their nuclear program gone forever. So a big, contentious, irreconcilable difference is starting to emerge from the U.S.-Iran talks. And so you put this on the backdrop of Just the markets are scared. The markets are fearful. Everything dump. And crypto's pumping now, but a lot of things are still dumping as we speak.
Yeah, well, and we've got this. I mean, this is the big story that a lot of people have been talking about. Our probably number one naval asset that we have out there, the USS Abraham Lincoln, is now within striking distance. It's been on its way. It's been close by. It's been hovering nearby. We know we had some drone action earlier in the week, but now it's within striking distance. That's part of why I was saying careful, front running this. I do expect some action this weekend after markets close, whether it's Friday night, whether it's Saturday. I am not saying
Well,
for
remember,
sure
the Oman talks are today. It's actually ongoing as we speak. This is a multilateral talk. What do I mean by that? It's multiple nations. This is a indirect talk. What do I mean by that? They're not directly in the same room. So there's a lot of ways this can go sideways, TJ. And that's happening now.
And just putting that asset there shows that that could just be a negotiating tactic, right? That could just mean like, hey, we're not kidding about this. Either we make this deal or we don't. The choice is yours, and we feel confident with the result either way.
And Rubio, he also came out. State Department urged U.S. citizens leave now, have a plan for departing that does not rely on a U.S. government help, and don't try to jump on that aircraft carrier like they did in Afghanistan. TJ, was that aircraft carrier real? Was that CGI? What was that?
You never know these days, right? Everything's AI now. So
look at the windshield, they would say. I don't know, folks. All right, so there's a lot going on right here. A lot of things pushing the markets to the downside. But chat, do you want some memes? TJ, should I throw a couple memes? I don't know.
Yeah.
Type in meme, and if we get enough, I'll throw a couple memes, because sometimes you just gotta take a step back and just say, all right, maybe it's okay. Maybe we zoom out and we realize, all right, look, the world's gone through a lot of turmoil. This is nothing compared to what we saw in the 1860s, in the 1920s, in the 1940s. Right. We're not even where we were at 2008. So maybe let's just take a breath.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Yeah, I think, when the world seems crazy, it's a good thing we have humor out there. And what is our memes today than the modern culture version of humor? So yeah.
All right. Well, we got Tom Lee. We're starting with Tom Lee. Tom Lee, when he's down $9 billion on his ETH investment, but
yeah, he's still getting paid $15 million. Not bad. Not bad.
His own money.
Yeah.
I still get my stock options. Yay. All right. We got some more. What do we have? Michael Saylor posted HODL. Everyone holding right now. Great clip from Tropic Thunder there. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like in this market right now. That squid, that's fake. We have a quick portfolio update.
That's a good one.
I love this one. No, please stop going. Stop going lower. You got to stop going lower. And then you just find Jesus at the end. All right, last one here. The sellers are getting exhausted. The sellers. I don't know, TJ. I think they got another couple miles in them at this point.
Yeah, well, there's the sellers definitely are not exhausted. I've also got one here too. This is the one I posted, or if you guys don't follow Discover Crypto chat, it's over, sell everything. Crypto's dead, it's going down forever, and you're just like unshaken. You might be bloody, you might be bruised, you might be beat up, but you're not. This is not your first time here. You're not scared. That's how I felt yesterday. Everybody, you start getting those texts from people of like, hey, you okay? Like, how's it going?
Sometimes they say it with a devilish gleam in their eye. They're like, ha.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Bitcoin?
How's your Bitcoin? You've been pitching me Bitcoin for better part of a decade now. How's that going for you today? Yeah, it's one of those. No, mostly it was like, you good, bro? And it's just
if you see a no coiner, they are your enemy. Okay. Yeah. And it is your duty, it is your job, it is your obligation to make them no longer a no coiner. That's the only way they're going to wake up to the scam that is inflation. And at the end of the day, inflation is stealing your lifeblood. It is stealing the essence. It's stealing your soul. Inflation is the hidden tax that drains your soul. So we got to onboard these people, because otherwise I see them as enemies that need to be taken down by any means necessary, metaphorically. Of course, we're not saying anything literally. A coworker giving a crap all day yesterday. You know what? We're going to dance. We're going to dance on their grave during the bull run. No, we don't need to have that energy. We need to onboard them, though. That's what we need to do.
I've got one more if you want to see it.
Yeah, let's see it. Is that Caroline Ellison? What am I seeing there?
No, this is everybody's wives and girlfriends. Everybody. Why didn't you just sell it 125? Why didn't you just sell the top?
Yeah. Why don't you just catch the top exactly?
Yeah.
What's
I mean,
wrong
come
with
on.
you? I'm serving you papers now. No.
Yeah, I wanted to go on a vacation around that time anyway. I told you it was probably the best time to sell, and you bought more. What were you thinking? You know.
And that's when you slap the coffee out of their hands and say, because I'm out here and I'm living it raw.
There you go.
There you
That
go.
was a good
All
one.
right, there you go. There's your raw, folks. Obviously, we wouldn't do that. I have carpet. Incredibly rare and bullish. I'm sorry. That was too much. Now, Kat, I love you, babe. Incredibly rare and bullish Bitcoin signal is now firing. It's the Meyer multiple, perhaps the oldest Bitcoin model. Rarely hits 06. Can the price go lower? Yes, but is historically one of the best buy signals. I like how I'm going to shift gears here. None of those indicators work. All right, we do have this one, though. This is measuring basically it's the 200-day moving average, and it's your difference or your distance from this line. And if you look right here, I threw in the 2017, 2018 bear market. We're at historical levels. That right there was essentially the bottom. I mean, you can see it wicked down to like 18, 18.5. We went to 15.7. So very, very close. It's kind of where we're at right now. The other time you say, all right, we're at this level. This was Bitcoin's at 3,300. That would be the Pico bottom. So we got Pico bottom is triggered. We got stone's throw away from the Pico bottom. It triggered. And now we're triggering again. So we're saying, folks, we are a stone's throw away from the Pico bottom. Can we go into 59, 55 maybe? That's not that crazy when we were just at 60K 12 hours ago. And so to me, 60K, yeah, obviously a stone's throw away from the bottom. I might put out a video talking about that $39,000 level, $40,000 level. I'll put that out tomorrow morning. I haven't checked myself. So I want to put on the bear glasses and say, can it really go to 40K?
Yeah, the next level to watch if we lose 59, I know, like, especially for the volume that traded hands, which I obviously, you know, as you guys know, I'm bullish. I don't think we're going that low, but if 59 drops, the next most likely level, in my opinion, there's not a lot of volume being traded between 59 and 48. So 48 is another extremely, extremely strong level. If you guys remember, yeah, somebody here saying 47. If you guys remember, we've had crashes and massive volume trade there before. I am a believer in volume nodes and watching those. If you are into the technicals, volume nodes do seem to act very well for sport. That's part of why I thought 69 was going to hold better. 69, another should have traditionally been a very strong support, and we just went through 69 like it was nothing, 65 like it was nothing. A lot of these levels that people thought were going to hold up, we just cut through them like butter. And that's a lot of why I think what we talked about at the top of the show, if you guys came in late, make sure you go back and watch that. We explained what was happening with some of those hedge funds. And that to me is what makes the most logical sense, because that price action was, felt forced. It felt like somebody was doing forced selling and unloading massive positions.
All right. All right. Now let's look at, well, can the bear market actually be ending so much earlier than expected? This is my analysis. I almost did this in last night's video, but I wanted to keep it a little bit shorter. I didn't want to get too caught up in the weeds. It's a lot of people talk about the 2-week RSI. We're at a very, very low level for the 2-week RSI. Most oversold in history, unprecedented selling pressure. And I was pulling up the charts here. I was like, all right, I almost wasn't even going to share this, but I will share it. This is the 2014, 2013 crash there. And I pulled up the 200-week moving average. I have it on the 4-week, so this is going to be really a 50, but this is the 200-week moving average. Bitcoin typically doesn't go lower, but sometimes it does. It would take 15 4-week candles. It's basically 15 months, 15 Februaries. It would take from the all-time high to get to the 200-week moving average, 15 months. Next cycle, though, it would only take 12 months. Next cycle, it would only take 7 months. This cycle, it only took 5 months. 5 months later. And then I did a little linear regression. I did linear regression here. All right, the difference between linear and log regression. Now, so this was from the top to the bottom, 532 days, 427 days, 392 days, 336 days. Folks, maybe that bottom is going to come a little bit sooner than a lot of people are expecting. We're hitting all-time highs sooner than more quickly than ever. We're hitting 200-week moving averages more quickly than ever. So the bottom will be hit more quickly than ever. And using the 2-week RSI, this kind of potentially giving you a little bit of a sign here, folks. Potentially giving you a little sign. Now, this is 4-week RSI. We can go back to 2-week here. Go back to 2-week. Give you the accurate data. Look at that RSI. Would we go a little bit lower? Yeah, when we have kind of the bull divs there, but sometimes it's pretty close to a V-shaped recovery. V-shaped recovery, traipsed along the bottom. I don't think anyone knows for sure V-shaped recovery or we go traipse along the bottom, but folks, we're getting close. We are getting close.
Yeah.
Tilt No Guilt saying we need 2 more months of chop, please. Now I'm getting greedy. This might say you only got a month and a half.
Right. And that's what's really interesting when you start to, you guys know, I feel like I'm a Clarity Act maxi at this point, which I'm not saying the government's going to come in and save everything. I just do believe it will open the floodgates of institutional money, which is a double-edged sword as we just experienced. But that timeline you just laid out, now that Clarity Act is basically on ice until April, until the spring. I do believe, I still believe we're going to have a bullish summer. I still believe we're going to be up in 2026. I know that's probably a contrarian take at this point. And to me, those are the two scenarios. I do believe we're very near a bottom. And you guys have heard me say this multiple times. It's not about selling the exact top and buying the exact bottom. You want to buy near a bottom and sell near a top. Or if you believe never sell, borrow near a top, maybe. I do believe these are the near bottom levels to be accumulating. That's what I'm doing. I'm putting more or less the rest of my dry powder, my cash in at these levels. And I still believe July, we get a new Fed chair in June. We get the first Fed meeting with Warsh in June, I believe, and could be seeing a very, very bullish summertime. If Clarity Act passes in April or May, we get new Fed chair in. If we get a rate cut, that still remains to be seen. That's not a foregone conclusion by any means, but it does appear that they want to lower the price, crash the dollar to, basically stimulate everything else. I still think we are set for a very bullish second half of this year. The big question to me is there's two scenarios. There's basically that scenario where we're speed running this bear market and we get back to bullish trajectory quickly, or if we're following cycles past and a lot of the things we've seen in the past, we could trade in this lower part of this range below those moving averages for up to 12 months or, about 12 months. Now, everything you just highlighted, again, backs up my thesis that everything's happening faster this time around. So I'm still firmly in that camp. But in my mind, those are the two scenarios right now. Either we're near a bottom and we recover quickly, or we're near a bottom and it goes up, trades in a range, and then we really start moving up in 2027. I still think we're going to see it in 26, but either way, if you guys are investing, keep this in mind. You're not a short-term game. You're not doing this for a year is not a long time if you're investing. If you can more than double your money in 4 years, that's very, very successful.
All right. And from, talking about, we're not talking about short-term. Well, let's talk about the short-term, actually. I have this I want to share. Talking about the standard doji candle. You have long-legged, also called the Jesus Christ doji. We have the gravestone. We have the dragonfly. Standard doji, I literally just now noticed this because, I was kind of moving some of the candles around. Look at the 4-hour candle right there. That might be a nice reverse indicator on the 4-hour. I'm just wondering, do we see it near the top? Is this 120? Yeah, no, this is local, 4 hours. What do we get here? Looks pretty similar, folks. Looks pretty similar. So we might be seeing one of the textbook classic reverse indicator candles striking right now striking for 8, 12, 16 hours ago as we speak at plus 15 minutes. So something to keep an eye out on, folks. We're seeing a lot of signs that potential bottom is going to be near here.
The Bitcoin way, did I buy more Arrow on this dip? I haven't yet. I've considered I have a lot of Arrow. I'm very, very exposed to Arrow. Usually when prices are moving like this, I buy Bitcoin and Ethereum and then kind of let the dust settle a little bit. And then I might move from Bitcoin or Ethereum into the ones that have my attention: Solana, Chainlink, and Bitcoin and Ethereum, obviously. Solana, Chainlink, and Arrow are the three that I'm considering. I think Solana had 70 and change and still, it's back to 84. So it recovered decently, but That's kind of where my head's at right now. I've got a lot of Arrow. I've got some pretty substantial Arrow locks that are producing me more Arrow. So my core strategy is Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then some, maybe 10 to 15% in other altcoins there. But to me, the infrastructure that I'm seeing come up is all built around Bitcoin and Ethereum. Lending and borrowing is part of it. DeFi, I use Arrow a lot, so I'm bullish on it. But that's where we're doing most of these concentrated liquidity pools. There's a Uniswap and Aerodrome, so that's where my head's at.
All right, cracked, not broken, like DZ. I am broken. No, I'll tell you what's not broken. The trade that we pulled the trigger on, we are up. We're up.
Look at that.
It was 52 cents. While we're talking, it jumped to 55 cents. And now it is up to 64 cents. So, 50 cents to 64, that's a 28% pump. We're up about 20% so far, folks. So
yeah, it says it right there at the top. 20%.
I'm going to sell everything. No, I'm not getting out just yet. I saw someone talking about the BitThumb story. TJ, did you hear about this?
No.
A bunch of people got 2,000 Bitcoin for free.
When?
Today. This is BitThumb. Look what happened. It looks like hundreds, not a whole lot, hundreds of users got accidental 2,000 Bitcoin. It's a total comedy of errors. Apparently, a staff member meant to give out 2,000 KRW as a random box prize, but they auto did Bitcoin instead. Crazy to think that exchanges can still do paper trading like this even in 2026. Now, TJ, a lot of people aren't aware. What's
not real.
For someone? No, it is real. Check it out. You double check it. But a lot of people aren't aware. Can you withdraw 2,000 Bitcoin?
No, definitely not.
What can you normally withdraw in like a 24-hour period?
It depends on how KYC'd you are, but they keep dropping it and dropping it and dropping it. Usually, I don't know if it's $1. Like a lot of times, it's one bit. Used to be like a couple Bitcoin, one Bitcoin, something like that. But then the price of Bitcoin went up, and they've lowered it even more. So a lot of times, it's even lower than one Bitcoin.
Yeah, end up creating all those people just end up selling. Not all, but a lot of them. It ended up crashing 10% below where it was on other exchanges. And it ended up going. This isn't a foreign currency here, but rumor has someone. They wrong deposited 2,000 Bitcoin by mistake, just dumped it all at market price immediately. But
the question is it real Bitcoin, or is it just like is it a perfect exchange or a centralized exchange where they're showing you your value, but you don't have custody of it?
Reports when you pull on this thread, they definitely had paper Bitcoin for the amounts in those accounts.
Right.
Crazy stuff. Now, like we said, you're not going to be able to pull out 2,000 Bitcoin. And if you pulled out one, to TJ's point, they probably have your driver's license. They have your home address. It's not going to go well for you if you just quit answering their emails. Like, oh, I don't know, I'm gone. You better get your butt to Dubai. This is from Wolf of Wall Street. When everyone's looking for a price to bottom at a specific level, one of two things usually happens. Either it'll bounce above it with smart money front running the crowd, or it will nuke through the level. They rarely get what they want. The crowd seems to expect 57.58. So far, they got 59. So maybe that flash crash to 60, a little bit below 59 and some change. That might be a lot of people expecting that 55, 57. They're not going to get it. Or he's saying we're going lower. This is saying like a 49, 51 potential area. So maybe just something to think about, folks. The crowd rarely gets what they want, and I don't know if this time's going to be a little bit different. Fear and greed breaking records is the worst level since the index was created. It ended up hitting number 5, literally 5 out of 100. Never saw it this low before. COVID, 10, 12, FTX, around 20. Not in any crash ever. This is unprecedented territory. Here's what happened after previous extreme fear. After COVID, it was at 4K, recovered to 64,000 in 18 months. It did a 16x. FTX went to 16K, went to 126 in 24 months. It did an 8x. We're at 5 now. Those were generational buy zones. Well, what the F is this? May God have mercy upon us from here. I like this mentality, TJ. This is saying, yeah, sure. Could we go a little bit lower? Yeah, maybe we are going to breach into the mid 50s, maybe even low 50s. I don't think we're going to 39. That's for sure. And if you look just last time, it was a 16x. The time before that, 8x. You just use a regression. This is suggesting a 4x from these levels. We're talking about a $240,000 Bitcoin.
Yeah, well, and we're already almost back to 70K. So we had a $10,000 drop yesterday. We're $10,000 recovery today. that is a very strong bounce. That's kind of what you're looking for things to be oversold. So, yeah, I mean, 240,000 Bitcoin, that sounds good to me. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So, and then this is another thing I've heard sailors say, he's a very big thinker and a very deep thinker in a lot of different ways. So sometimes a lot of the stuff he says can go over people's heads, but it was a really good framing for people that were, as prices are going down. Don't ask yourself how you'll feel if Bitcoin's at 54 tomorrow or 49 tomorrow. But how would you feel if you woke up and Bitcoin was at $10 million tomorrow, like, or $1 million even? Like, how much regret would you feel that you didn't take action? Versus the regret of buying and maybe it goes a little bit lower. And so that to me is a lot of the way I like to think about it, because I do feel in the 10-year, it is going to be going much, much, much higher. And you're not going to beat yourself up if you bought it 72 or 69 or 65 or 59 or 48 even. Like, sure, you want as much as you can. You want to be wise about it. And if you have a long-term bullish thesis, how much worse would you feel if you didn't take action and then the price just runs away from you and it's at 300,000 or 200 or $2 million, because that is going to happen in our lifetime.
Yeah. Now let's talk about some insane difference between longs and shorts. This is a snapshot about 4 p.m. yesterday. Wow, just wow. I don't know if this is going to happen again. Truly unprecedented day in so many ways. The 1-year liquidation map now has 100 million in longs, 29 billion in shorts, 290x more shorts than longs. Whoa. They have quite literally cleared the entire book of longs. Holy F. Honestly, can't believe how wild this is. This is a great little follow-up. Doesn't that give market makers every incentive to take out those shorts? Absolutely. And now, obviously this is going to be a lot different than what it was 4 p.m. yesterday. This is very, very telling. You can find this yourself. Go to liquidation heat map. It's going to be on CoinGlass. I think it's just liquidation map. And you're going to have to do, it's one of these here. Not that one. That one's so ugly. I hate that one. And then you'll have to go by year here. So basically you do this enough. Here we go. 1 year. We're going to do it by symbol.
You got to log in, but
I do have an account. I'm not logged in. Okay, so I'm not going to log in and all this stuff.
No, but it would have swung obviously somewhat back to the upside now because people have opened more. But yeah, that is extremely bullish. Now, that's what I was saying at the top of the show. Exchanges are very incentivized for the price to go up and wipe out all those shorts now, because I know even anecdotally people that have been shorting from 98K. So yeah, even it's amazing how they wipe all those out. Even Crypto, one of the best whale traders I know, had a long that he rode all, for years from 69K all the way up to 125. Now he took plenty of profits, but even that trade, that's probably one of the most legendary trades out there, millions of dollars in profit, ended up going down and getting liquidated, obviously with what happened yesterday. Now he was prepared for it. He had plenty of profit out of it. But they just have a way of washing that leverage out before price just continues to run. So just keep that in mind when you're trying to nail those bottom trades and ride it forever. Like it's unlikely. Make sure you're taking profits on the way up if you're using leverage.
Yeah, those shorts will get closed. It's just a matter of when, not
or
if.
Liquidated. Yeah,
or liquidated for sure. There. All right, now we also have this prescient call. Reflection did this. Are you scared? And this was October 15th, 2025. Look how accurate that is, TJ. He did say it's going to bounce to like 62 instead of, 59. But a lot of people are starting to share. Oh, my God. It's now up to 2.2 million views on this. A lot of people sharing this, just point out like how close this guy was. Let's see. I think I can view quotes. Okay, it's not going to let me. But, yeah, a lot of people are pointing out that, holy crap, this guy was on fire. Very, very good call.
Yeah, what's that account? Let me see. What's his name? Reflection. Yeah, I'll have to go check that out.
0x Reflection. You know what? Deserves a follow. You got to follow for me. Now, we do have some altcoin news. I know you don't even want to hear this probably, but Uniswap did just get a ETF application for Bitwise. So Bitwise is now filing for a Uniswap. Pretty bullish for Uniswap there. You're seeing a lot of FUD. I watched this entire stream, so you don't have to. Thankfully, it wasn't one of the 2-hour ones. It was a little bit shorter. He did not say liquidated. He said he is down 3 billion. And he also said he's not going anywhere. That's a lot, TJ. That's a lot. Hoskinson down 3 billion. But no, he didn't say he leverage traded it away. He didn't say he sold. He said he's still here. He's still riding it. He's unrealized loss is 3 billion.
Right. Paper losses. And they're nothing, they're not real until you sell or buy, similar with Tom Lee, similar with strategy. So yeah, it's a good reminder when you're feeling the pressure, because again, financial pressure is real. When you're feeling that, it sometimes is comforting to know, the titans of this industry are in it as, so much further than you. Again, Sailors Fund down, I think, $6 billion. Bitmine, Tom Lee down $8 billion. Now Charles Hoskinson down $3 billion. That and they still have strong conviction that not only will that $3 billion come back, but it's going to go even higher. And so, yeah, Charles, one of the goats in this space, in my opinion. Very authentic. I know, he's very polarizing as well. People have mixed opinions, but one of my favorite people in this space for a very long time. Very committed to decentralization. Very committed to freedom. Much more than money. Obviously, he's done very well financially. He's not hurting if he's, unrealized losses of $3 billion, which, again, you have to realize, like, he probably got 1.5 billion of that back already, which is just crazy to think about those type of swings. I've watched seven figures disappear and reappear off my balance sheet multiple times, to the point where you somewhat get used to it. You build that tolerance. Oh, I watched 1 million go up and down. Oh, I watched 10 million go up and down. Oh, I watched 100 million go up and down, and then eventually you get to billions. So I guess that's the goal, is to have billions in unrealized losses and not blink an eye.
Well, how about from realized losses to realized gains? There's a runner out there, Solana Seeker, the Seeker token. Seeker token is seeking some green candles here, and suddenly so clear. Now, this is the founder of Solana, so he's going to be a little bit bullish here. Solana Mobile Seeker would never stop. It would never leave you. It would never hurt you. It would never shout at you. Never get drunk and hit you. It would never say it's too busy to spend time with you. It would just always be there, and it would die to protect you of all the would-be. What does that say? Crab? I don't even know. Lobster? Crawfish who came and went over the years. This machine was the only one who measured up. In an insane world, it was the sanest choice. But TJ, when you zoom out, hey, it looks great, right? Oh my God, we're way up for, oh wait, no, we're not. Oh yeah, we're up for the last month because we were there. Yeah, we're up, but I think the majority of people got exposure here. So we're still waiting. Now, when you zoom in, man, that looks great. That looks really good. 24 hours, you're smoking it. You zoom out, we're above the airdrop levels, but we're well below the mania phase. I do want to say, don't feel like you missed out if you see the pump for Seeker and Aster. They're doing a little something too. That's probably why you saw it pumping today. They're the blockchain L1 testnet went live, and they're targeting the main net for Q1. Aster was one of the biggest gainers today. Let's see if it's still holding strong, still holding true here. Aster is it's falling a little bit, still up 8%. A lot of altcoins are really starting to pump. How about Canton? We got a few ones in the green for the 7-day there.
Yeah, Canton's looking strong. Interview coming on that soon. Shout out to Hannah. We see Hannah in the chat. If you guys were early Blockchain Basement or longtime Blockchain Basement viewers, she was a regular on Blockchain Basement. Hope you're doing well, Hannah. Hope Leo's doing well. Let us know next time you guys are back around. Everything is going great here, and we'd love next time you guys are around, come by the office and we'll show you the new digs.
Show you the new digs. Now let's check in on the current price action. How is Bitcoin holding? It is still pumping, folks. It's actually looking kind of good. Bitcoin, nice little bounce from this bottom. Let's go to the 20 minutes, so it looks a little bit better here. We're starting to get a nice string of green candles here, TJ. Now, where am I expecting the markets to say, hey, you need to cool down. You need to cool down. You're getting a little hot, buddy. Seems to be a pretty strong point of control. 72. Actually, if you recall, was important previously. Maybe go to the 4-hour here. Yeah, bam. Look at that. 72. That's where it rejected. Because remember, we blasted past 69. 72 was that first point where it said, nay. And you can see it right there. I guess maybe a little bit above 72 to 74 range. Let's just say the green candles don't go forever, everybody. But in the meantime, hey, we'll string together the green 4-hour Just hopefully it keeps going.
Yeah,
TJ,
well,
or go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say we've got Drew here waiting in the wings. No, I don't, and we're gonna be going over some levels, especially if you guys are trading, kind of what to expect price action wise. We broke down the news for you is what caused the crash yesterday. If you guys missed that, make sure to go back and watch the top of the stream. Also, DZ's going to break down some more kind of the future timeline to expect in tonight's video. But we've got Drew here to break down some levels, and then Crypto Crank, one of our community traders, going to be jumping on with him. Oh, look at that. TJ's chicken salad. There's a blast from the past. So throwback. Dips are for buying. That is absolutely true. But yeah, take it away, Drew. And yeah, let us know what you've been looking at.
Absolutely, guys. And good job covering all the news. There's a lot going on in the world today as we have the 20-headed hydra of crypto, macrodynamics on Wall Street. Are we going to war with Iran? There's a lot happening right now. So we're going to be taking a look at all of this. You know, I think DZ had a pretty good broad stroke on Bitcoin, but I'll kind of give you guys my take on this general. I am buying like a madman. As much Bitcoin as I can muster up with all the Tether from our Discord quant. Holy God, he has helped me make some nice bags that have been very, very comfortable to have in this current environment. So shout out to you that. And on top of that, yeah, Crank was the one. It was Crank, the quant, and Piano Matty B, all at 100K. You know, I was hopeful that we could hold 100K. No, they helped me make money all the way down. So now we're seeing a massive, massive return of price action, which I absolutely hate. I want this price to be as low as possible for as long as possible. That is my approach on the markets. It's done me well. And generally, just what I've done from a very basic standpoint is buy the previous peaks of each bull market when we fall back down to it. Same thing in 2022 here, as you can see, when we had touched the peak that we had experienced in 2018. So seeing that we had tapped that previous peak, if I wasn't buying, I'm dying here. Yes, there's a lot of macro chaos going on in the world, but I really am buying through that chaos. It was funny. I was looking at crypto Twitter yesterday, and I will say this, my daughter seems more based than 99% of the crypto Twitter influencers that are out there freaking out, talking about this is the worst day of my life. I've lost everything. And that being said, I do feel like there's some bodies that are going to come floating up to the top of the water in terms of altcoins. But generally speaking, the decades that I've spent learning about macroeconomics, the thesis that I've pulled the trigger on for many, many times, many cycles, has not been shaken by a simple 50% pullback on Bitcoin. Very simply stated. So looking at this now, just to kind of digest what just happened in the run-up, right? So we had price moving up, great times, you know, no one took profits apparently, but the RSI was on the way down. So it was just building up this gigantic bearish divergence. It's nice to see the flush has happened. And now our RSI on the weekly is as low as it was when we were in June of 2022. Now you got to keep in mind, June of 2022, we still had a little bit of chop to the downside to experience before building up that nice, beautiful, bullish divergence after things had flushed out. Just to give a quick showing an example of this, you had price moving to the downside while strength in the RSI was moving to the upside on the weekly, thus building even more confluence that I was once again bottom blasting the damn market. And just to be clear here, we are bottom blasters. There is only one asset that I will always buy the top of, and that asset is shown here. Follow me on Twitter if you get a chance. I would love to see you guys come in and join me on my journey of shit posting. You can see my morning shit post on the way to the gym here, but this is the only chart I'm willing to top blast perpetually. And this is the producer price index of the industry of small arms and ammo manufacturing. This is a consistent up and to the right graph, but for the rest of the markets, you have chop, right? You have ups and downs, in betweens, all of it. Now, where I'm at is we have, just as of yesterday, tapped the previous market high. Okay, we have just done that. Now, where we're at is, I think it's going to take a little bit of time to dig ourselves out of this tranche that we've experienced in. Yes, we're having some fun today. And I do keep in mind that the last time we had major bad news with the Trump administration and some nasty kind of conflict being built up between that South American country, Venezuela, we actually pumped on the news. So keep this in mind. We pumped while we imported the previous leader of Venezuela into New York City, right? So that was kind of crazy to see. Set us up for just that nice big dip. We are going into the weekend, and it is, of my opinion, all the chess pieces on the war board are set up for more conflict, not less conflict. And really looking at this, you know, I am not afraid of buying this entire zone of 70, 75, all the way down to, I mean, I'd be stealing my neighbor's cat and selling it on the black market if I got Bitcoin down to $30,000. Now, it was being discussed in the chat yesterday. Do you take a loan out for crypto? Do you leverage loans to buy crypto? And I have never done this. I have only, unless, you know, the people that I know that are like in the tens of millions of dollars, billions of dollars. Yeah, they take loans out. They have padding. They have a very, very large basket of money that they can absorb losses on a loan into, right? But for the person that's dealing with 100K, dealing with a couple 100K, right? I have seen things only gone wrong doing that if you don't have massive, massive amounts of money in the background backing that loan up. Okay, so that is my opinion about taking loans out to get crypto. I know that there's a lot of people that have different ideas about that. They've leveraged that and blah, 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 blah. This is my situation, right? Shout out to Pokemon card prices as well. That is another asset that's been doing good. And yeah, tech acknowledging it was crazy to pump to 97K when we did do that. So the current situation on Bitcoin, aggressive move back up to the upside, but I really want to take a look at how altcoins are reacting after this massive, massive flush. Now, and just before I move away from Bitcoin's chart too far, ask yourself this question. Did we literally just spend the last 10, 15 years learning macroeconomics, all the reasons why Bitcoin stands as a disruptive asset class in a fiat currency system that has clearly been failing us since it was incepted, right? Are we really going to wash all of that information out of our heads and check out because of a simple 54% pullback, right? Are we really going to just walk away from one of the most disruptive asset classes the world has ever seen because of a pullback? Ask yourself that hard question. Now, I was driving into work today, and I got to say this. XRP deserves some flowers, okay? The people that are XRP maximalists are honestly some of the more based people I saw on Twitter yesterday. They did not get shaken out. They did not freak out. They were out there posting about their buys of the lows. They were posting about all those things while a lot of the altcoin sector was sitting there. Yeah, I mean, you have to, Crypto Stevo saw it too. The XRP army gave literally, where's my thing? The XRP army gave no fucks about this pullback. So I have to give them their flowers for that. Okay. Let's go check out the altcoin sector. That being said, XRP to 10,000. Don't make me ban. I don't know if I'm going to be able to deport an XR person after seeing how base they were after yesterday. XRP is up 17%. It is now at $1.50. It is still down on the week by 13%, but trying to make its way back up. We have Solana at $86. And within this, Cardano writhing around. It's at 5.3% of an upside on the day. Within the hour, it is up by 2.75%. Charles Hoskinson going into what seems to be massive, massive wolf mode, extreme wolf mode. So that'll be interesting. Chainlink, I have some metrics I'll dig into later on for Chainlink. Chainlink isn't showing much of a pump off this floor, which is concerning, right? Canton doing great. In my list, I'm in the season of Bitcoin buys as much as I can. I'm gobbling up as much Bitcoin as I can possibly muster right now. I'm not in the mood to add more to altcoin bags, because where I am personally is I only have a little bit of Chainlink and I have a little bit of Canton Network. Those are the only two altcoins that survived the Drew new truck indicator, where every time I am on the front lines fighting for new capital with altcoins. Okay. And every time I release the capital, it's for a new vehicle or so upgrades to the house. The Bitcoin, I'm happy to round trip. But I'm waiting for some confirmations of a macro market return on crypto before I start messing around with the altcoins too much. What is up, Crypto Crank? You got the sunglasses on? Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. Okay. Crank, how the hell you doing, baby?
I'm doing great.
Crazy.
Dude,
Yeah.
yesterday was crazy. My eyes are strained. I got the lights on and everything right now, dude, but my my
Lord.
eyes are strained because I didn't get much sleep with this price action. I did multiple streams. I been on this journey documenting these in just radical trades, dude.
Isn't it weird how the savages get more active when things are going bad, and then the people that are kind of like the fair weather influencers with no balls, they just disappear during this time and kind of wait for it to be safe to come back into the market? Like I really respect that you're out there hammering it, getting after it while all the chips are down. I feel like this is the time where our money is actually made, man. This is when the prices go down.
Guys, this is investing is not, you guys, you want to make sure that you're in it. Guys, you're not buying the S&P at all-time highs. You're not buying the QQQ at all-time highs. What is down the most is crypto, and this is where education needs to be the most violent. And you guys need to be paying attention. When fear and greed is at 5 to 10, everybody's leaving. This is when you follow channels like Discover, you follow channels like myself and a few others, guys, that are giving you the truth on these on good core projects, good core trades, and as a matter of fact, people that are showing you execution.
Yeah,
that's what yesterday was all about, dude. It takes strategy, structure, discipline, but yesterday wasn't surprising, my man. I sent you everything.
I started my segment thanking you, the Quant, and Piano Matty B, because my heart wanted up at 100K. I was like, it's got to do it. And you, Piano Matty B, and the Quant inside of our Discord all poured that bucket of cold water over my head. And all three of you, this trading community, helped me make this brand new bag of Tether all the way down this trip. And then the hillbilly in me saw the previous market high of 21 get hit yesterday, Crank. And we were even getting close to it the day before that. So I've been backing the truck up on spot Bitcoin purchases. These are not swing trades. These are assets for my children.
Yeah, gotcha.
What do you see on Bitcoin from your perspective, though, brother? I want to bring up your chart and get your perspective on the markets here.
Let's blow this up for you guys, man.
We could just do it like this. Look, I fixed it for you.
You got it, dude. Here we go.
Yes.
Thank you so much. So,
yes,
guys, let's this big liquidation event, dude. I was in a couple of spaces throughout the last couple of days that really know about miners. All right, and guys, yesterday we had a miner capitulation. All right, these guys were talking about how some of the hash power was getting shut off. Some of these guys, dude, in the mining space, the rates have been parabolic for 2.5 years.
Right.
These guys have not been selling Bitcoin over $100,000. The miners were trying to hold on to these Bitcoins, not put them into circulation. They were taking out tons of debt. There's a guy named Landy, dude, on the X Spaces, and he really dials into this. And he was watching this, and he says, "Guys, we're in a full out miner capitulation." I'm like, "Really? How do you see this stuff?" And he's like, "Crank. They're debt loaded out of their minds. These guys have not been selling the Bitcoin." Doubled it, dude. If these guys would have been offloading it up in the hundreds, 120s instead of getting into the cost to mine, we wouldn't have such an insane. I don't think it's over. And what I'm looking at, dude, is it's pretty easy just to see these levels. We've gone over this a handful of times. 116s. You could see here that we have also the 107s, and then we couldn't get over the 100,000. All right, right in here, 100.
And this is where I finally was like, fine, Crank, you know what I mean? And it's been fun since I started listening to you and the Quant and Piano more. But these are some pretty important levels. So just for everyone that's watching, can you reiterate the importance of those 4 levels that you just laid out? because the market's acting aggressive. We might pump up and, move quickly. We have macro chaos that's going to give the cover for these market makers to run the price back up and to get everyone's hopes back up. So can you kind of, just for everyone that's watching, explain
This
these
is the
four
way
levels?
this works, guys. When you guys have a market range right in here, when you have this market range, you have Bitcoin playing between 106 to 124s. All right. And you guys can see support, support, support. You want this thing to hold, break out of this, flip this into support, and then go for a new all-time high. Did not happen. Did not happen. What do? We broke support. So when we break down to support, you guys can see here, this was another big level. Came up, the support that we broke down, flipped into resistance. We broke down again. Right now, again, $80,000 was our new level. Come up to $97,000, $98,000. What you wanted to see was 100, come down, start working its way out of here.
You know what we could have done right there to keep the pump going after we kidnapped Maduro? Is we could have gone after the governor of Vermont for lower maple syrup prices, but we stopped at Maduro, and that was the problem. We rejected off of that, whatever that level was, like 97K. We could have kept the party going, unfortunately.
And there's a lot more tools, man, as we're looking at this. Some people were like, I just don't know why $97,000 just didn't hold. And I'm like, guys, what do you mean? There's just pull the fibs. I'm a big fib trader from here to here. Look at this, right up into the macro golden pocket, right into a golden pocket retracement. Right now, guys, you do not want to see $72,000. You do not want to see 72, 74, just like 84. You know what I mean? You do not want to see this get hit into resistance, because if we do, we are going to end up sweeping these lows again. My number was 50. We came down all the way down to 59.8. And what was crazy is on our last stream, dude, I was saying 54 to 58, dude. This is just a macro level. If I was to clean all of this up and we go out to like a 3-week, all right, and it's just crazy, dude. It's just when you take euphoria or all emotions out of the charts and everyone's leaving and you have guys like me and a few others, all we have left is just TA. It's pretty simple. It's just TA. That's all we could do. It's an if-then scenario. We come up and look, dude, we're front running this golden pocket right here. We came right down, and I'm like, dude, I'm telling you, just this move that we just had yesterday was the healthiest thing for Bitcoin in the last 2 years. Anything that comes up in a month, dude, we're talking from November 6th. You know what I mean? When we come down from when Bitcoin went from November 6th to let's see here, August, September, November, October, right in here.
Yeah, that was the run up from the election too. There's like a lot of hopes of the,
100% run up, dude. And what people need to understand is that Bitcoin, I'll say it again, is not a mature asset. Bitcoin is far from a mature asset. It is still an adolescent. It's still going to do these radical swings. And this is almost, again, we've seen this. You guys have charted this out back in March and April of 2022. Look at this. You do not want to see this come up. Flip this into resistance right here, just like it did. It runs up, it comes and wicks down. We get this push up right here, and we'll zoom into this so you guys can see this a little bit better. Look at this. This is 2022. Again, same thing. We wick down, kind of get a little bit of a relief right up in here. Resistance, and then it follows through. We do not want to see that right now, guys, on Bitcoin.
Do you have the market cipher available on the weekly? Could we look at that? Because I looked at that just slightly, but we're just peeking our little pecker into the red on the downside.
Guys, the fact that we came down this hard and we're already in the 50s, I'm going to be the first to tell you guys, I'm going to adjust my targets into the 30s, 40s for a true rounding out bottom, a cumulative bottom. If we cannot get above 72 and hold for somewhat like a month. I mean, it needs to, and it's not just being bearish, guys. I want cheap Bitcoin. Do you guys?
I know. I was complaining to you in Discord that this pump is pissing me off today because it's like when I get lit up and I get excited when I'm buying lower prices of Bitcoin, and this is the time frame where it's like the move down was very fast, the move back up is very fast, and the bottom end of that range that we're now kind of flopping and groping at the top end of. That's kind of dead center of your screen there. The bottom end of that was 49K.
It's right here. It's 49 G's right in there. Yep.
Right. So there is, hope in my heart for at least, more Bitcoin. And I'm not even thinking in terms of money. This is another frame of mind. It's how much Bitcoin can I get out of this deal? Like how much useless inflationary fiat garbage can I swap out for higher percentages of a Bitcoin, right? And so that's where
look at the math, dude. I mean, $1,000 at 100K, guys, got you 0.01.
Right.
$1,000 get you 0.06 of a guys. I mean, is this math right? Yeah. Hold on. If I wanted to buy $1,000 of a Bitcoin,
I'm going to do a quick someone dared me to do a quick Bitcoin buy, so I'm going to do it right here. I'm going to go into my wallet.
I want cheaper Bitcoin too, dude. But you know what? And again, this is very simple. I did show you guys. I told this back to Josh in March. I would like to just really show guys the Wyckoff distribution and accumulation phases, and that's what you want to see again.
Yes, I didn't get a chance to bring that up on the show yesterday. You sent it to me while I was streaming, and I was like, I didn't get a chance to like really dig into the Wyckoff accumulation pattern that you'd sent me. If you can, spend some time on this.
This is very, very simple, guys. I posted this in March 9th of 2025. This is very simple. You guys can see here that down at $49,000, 49 to 60,000, we had an accumulation phase. Nice big accumulation phase. If you were to look here, let's go to the next. You can see Wyckoff accumulation. It's very, very, very identical right in here. You can then see that we had a distribution phase. All right. Everyone was laughing at me when I said 85s, guys. We're going to get down back into the 50s, 70s. It's just natural. This is when BlackRock decided to get into Bitcoin and Van Eyck and all of these ETFs, guys. While everyone's saying the inflows, no, man, these dudes are offloading you and selling you the dream, and they're selling. The way the markets work inside of the cryptocurrency markets, if somebody's buying, somebody's selling, and if somebody's selling, somebody's buying, and this is what creates price action and liquidity. Well, you guys can see here, my target was literally coming right down into this. Guys, it was point blank. And here's the updated. Again, this was here's the updated. It's very simple. Wyckoff accumulation, Wyckoff distribution. We have our markdown. Very, 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 very simple. What you guys want to see now is a Bitcoin reaccumulation. Bottoms are created through accumulation and not V-shapes.
Right.
I'm expecting Bitcoin to do something very, very so. Let's go out to a 3-week. I'm expecting Bitcoin to do something like this. We are going to follow through. Let's go here to a bars pattern. I think we follow through. We're going to see something one more time like this. We're going to come down one more time into something like this, into the 40s, 30s, something like that. Our next candle. We are going to then accumulate out of this. And I'm going to need to just post this, dude. That way a year from now, we're going to round out just like we do. We round out right in here. All right. This is really rounding out, accumulating phase. This would put us towards the end of this year, right? We start working our way back towards 60, 70, and then we end up getting this right in here. Boom, going into 2028, 29.
So, and you're talking about a level that we need to rally above and turn into support. Was it 72K? We
gotta hold this right in here, bro.
We just hit 70K, and like I want to know from you, are you looking for that confirmation above that 72 mark by the weekly close, the weekly candle close, or are you giving it a month
close, dude? Yeah, I'm gonna be looking at these longer time frame weeklies, but this is the only thing, dude. Look at market cipher on the we're just getting started, bro.
I know that's the scariest metric out there for me. Right
Money
here.
flow is massively deep. I mean, on the downside, we're at the zero line. We're just getting started. I'm expecting yesterday was capitulation. People are going to be so chapped, bro, if we end up losing 60K again. They're going to be they're going to say, fuck crypto. We're done. We are done with this. We don't want to touch it. And, last night I had a massive trade. It was my biggest scalp. It was 50 G's, dude. I just keep getting higher over those 20s, 30s, 40s. We're at 50s.
Yeah.
If I would have held that trade, dude, it would have been close to 100 plus. And I had a glass of wine last night, dude, and I was going through these altcoins, and I'm like, dude, look at Algo.
Oh, I know. That's what I wanted to talk to you about next. That's what I wanted to literally go over Algo, and I'm kind of concerned about the lack of pump even in the short term that I'm seeing from Chainlink, dude. Like
I
there
was
is
heard about that one, and I own a lot of them, dude. And then we were talking about Solana 2 days ago. I said, dude, 50s, and you're like, I don't know, dude. I don't know, man. And,
But
you
then I
know,
saw the velocity because I was looking for like 80, but we were going down too quick. Right?
Dude, this thing was, dude. I did a stream with Crypto Blood, and he's like, Elmo, crank, man. This bad boy's coming down into here, and I'm thinking still, dude, we're gonna hit the 50s again. I don't think that this is it. Could we have a relief rally? And everybody says, oh, we're so back. I seen a lot of big channels doing. Thank God that you know what, you guys aren't calling bottoms. You guys aren't calling tops. You guys are informational channel, which is great because I saw a lot of big channels yesterday, guys, doing apologetic letters to everybody, and then they were calling bottoms. And then they're calling bottoms, and I'm like, what?
Oh my God.
You just doomed me all the way down, and now you're calling a bottom, and now you're saying, if I
you're broke. Yeah.
Everybody's now's the bottom. Well, dude, if we come down and break 60, this is and again, it's just designed to just get everybody out, rinse you out, and then we get in because we're educated. This is generational buys. I think this is going to be the last generational buy.
And I think there's a degree of accepting a little bit of psychosis for me that I've had to do all the way since the flu season. You know, because people were like making fun of me. They were saying that my life savings is going to go away. And then they did the same thing when we dipped down to 15K to me. Like I was getting attacked and like saying, oh, you know, this is going literally to 3K, blah, 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 blah. It's just a zone and a range of buying in general that I've used that market cipher weekly to start really get involved with buying large positions in spot again. And it's like I have to spend a lot of time on the sidelines or just selling when we're going up because the practice of top blasting is how you wreck yourselves in crypto. That is absolutely, you can look at all the metrics and all the, you know, the community involvement, all you want. It doesn't matter. Like I was talking to my wife about it. Do you remember that story that came out real quick? And then we'll get back to the charts about Starknet. Do you remember Starknet?
I remember Starknet. Yep.
Yeah. So it was this really bright, beautiful little altcoin that had some weeks of major rallies. And then the shillers would come out and be like, keep buying, keep buying. It came out that there was 8 users on Starknet. It was basically just a group of massive whales sending money from one spot to the next, baking all this data. Everyone fell for it. I never even took time to like really peel back the layers of Starknet, you know, because it wasn't a major altcoin. But I feel like this event that we just went through killed some altcoins. I do feel like that. I feel like it might have been the nail in the coffin for a couple altcoins. Can we
I saw that video that you guys, made because it's going to be really rough, man. This is where if these altcoins and these utility projects weren't selling like the way XRP sells, if you guys don't understand how their business model works, they openly sell XRP and they're very transparent about it. If these new projects, man, like Canton and Ondo, and you know, I watched the Ondo Summit as well with Fidelity and JP Morgan, all these banks, if these guys aren't selling, dude,
it was huge.
You know, if they're not selling, this is where they're going to get crushed, dude. We're going to find out who the real winners are. We are going to find the new winners. But when I talk about Bitcoin not being being an adolescent and it's not a mature asset, guys, let me just remind you what just happened to mature assets like silver and gold. They, you know, here's Amazon, very mature asset, 57% in 2022, 2023, 24%. And if you guys don't believe that Bitcoin can get its ass back into the 30s, 40s, 50s, like we just saw, and we don't know if it's going to go there. I don't know, but you know, we all have opinions. I'm going to stick to the charts, but guys, when I'm looking at this right in here, 33%. Amazon just today, I mean, this is the 3-week right in here, dude, 20%.
Yeah.
This is by itself is a $3 trillion asset, not Bitcoin being only a $1 trillion, 1.2 trillion. So even if we were to look at like silver, guys,
that's crazy. That was just nuts to see this
47% pullback.
Yeah.
These are mature assets. Let's go over some of the altcoins that you're talking about, guys.
Yeah, drop them in the chat too. Drop us if you got, like, I see someone's asking if Ondo's cooked. You know, I
Ondo
see
is
some conversations.
obliterated.
I
Ondo-
want to kind of go over these and really digest what just happened to the altcoin sector,
Guys, this
because
thing is. Yeah, go
it
ahead.
looks
Go ahead.
like we're
I'm
gonna owe money if we hold Ondo at this rate. Like, I don't even like the Head and Shoulders goes like negative 33 cents or something like this. What do you what is going on with this?
I hate to say it, dude, but anytime this thing pumps, you short it. You short Ondo. Me and my community have it. We short it. But this is bad right now, man. This is, I mean, Ondo's getting a slight bounce, but you guys can see, unless we get ourselves out of this thing, if you are almost all these coins, man, have been filled. They filled the Binance wick, which is good. All right, this is good. Everything's getting a complete reset now that Bitcoin's actually getting its reset. But if you're a believer at Ondo, this is you'd want to buy it here at 20 cents, dude. I mean, you have a 5x play here. You have a 5x play just to get up to $1, 4 or 5x play. If you guys think that Ondo is going to be your next RWA play, but please understand, guys, Ondo talking about onboarding digital assets or real world assets and partnerships with governments and all these things. Let me just remind you that the project that came out of nowhere that truly got the partnerships was Canton, out of nowhere.
I know, dude. It was so weird.
So
it was so weird. Hey, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
So Ondo is really, like, I'm looking at Ondo under the covers, and the total value locked is just going to the moon. Ondo just had a major unlock, which I think is playing into the downward pressure. I agree with Steve-O in the chat, and we covered that on token unlocks. Like, there's a massive unlock that's happening on Ondo token. Is there any point or price that Ondo hits that you would turn into a buyer of Ondo? Because I got in when it first came out. I got out with size at 2, and now I'm sitting here looking at it. It's been rinsed and repeated. 18 cents.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And guys, don't be fooled, man. The last 3 years, you could have parked all of your money that you decided to get into the crypto space into Bitcoin, and you could have gotten your 5x pretty easily.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, if you're going to take these, I would consider all of these coins outside of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, BNB, Tron. I would be looking at serious players, man, for this next upcoming cycle. But yeah, I'd say if we sweep 20 cents, anything, one more sweep, man, just one more sweep of the beginning right in here, 18 cents. I'd say, you know what, I could possibly take a flyer on Ondo. If that's what, that would just be me. That's the way I would do it.
Absolutely.
We sweep this right in here, then I would be, I'd be a player.
Yeah, it's just, it's got good things going in terms of total value locked. You can't really fake treasuries on chain. And it's got the likes of, like, the biggest financial institutions with enough apparent interest in it to go speak at its summit, but the price is just like getting absolutely obliterated. So it's on my radar. I like these chats too. Let's look at, I think I want to look at, have you been keeping an eye on Aerodrome Finance's chart at all? Can we go check that one out just for your opinion? I'm going to buy an Aerodrome emblem and put it on my Toyota, I think is what I'm gonna do, just for the sake of the arrow. Like the pilot is a AVAX mobile for sure.
Man, where's our boy Crypto DeFi, man? Man, I told him, I said, dude, I'll be a player when we see 30 cents.
Did it tap that? Did it tap that?
Yeah. Oh yeah, 27.5. So
well,
yeah, this is all I wanted to see, man, was the sweep of this. I think Arrow with base is a big player. When we start getting our recovery back and all the things start getting built on base and Arrow's volume starts picking up all over again. Yeah, this is where, this is where you separate. This is where the buys come in here, here, and here. If we bust down below this, I'm going to say the same thing. 18 cents. Just a quick sweep of all of these. 18 cents. Just take them out.
Yeah.
If Bitcoin goes to those targets, like I said, and it's an if-then scenario. Let me just remind you guys, though, that if every single time we have these patterns on all these coins that we're going to be looking at, because they're all very identical, anytime you have this, a squeeze is around the corner.
Yeah. And just
It's
something
a matter
else
of
that I
time.
want to reiterate is when I'm looking at charts like this, the re-entry to getting back into them is not half of my Bitcoin. It's not some giant section of my portfolio. I'm going back into the casino, knowing that I might get my head chopped off. So I'm going
Yeah.
in with like 1-2%. If there's
Yep.
lots of confluence, 5 or 10%. Keep this in
That's
mind,
exactly
please.
right. If you're sitting on $1,000, guys, you're putting $20.
Right.
1-2%. If you guys
Right.
got 100 grand, you're putting 2 G's. That you are not. You guys need to stick to the cores. Don't be fooled a second time. Otherwise, it's shame on you. I'm a big. I think I'm on this run after what I just witnessed, dude. For me, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, BNB, Tron. Bitcoin,
Okay.
Ethereum, TRX, Solana.
Did you
and-
see
and
Tron's ex-girlfriend, like Justin Sun's ex-girlfriend, going on like a war path against him? That was crazy. It really
No,
hasn't pulled back in price from that either.
Guys, this is you know what? I tell you what, there isn't a better man that'll create his own FUD for his own ritual gain. And
Oh
it's
my
Justin
God.
Sun, baby. I love that dude. I love him. Dude, if I had that kind of money, I'm sorry, guys. I could blow $50 million on the tabloids so I get more rich.
Oh,
I mean, I
my
hate to say
Lord.
that, but dude, he creates his own FUD. Like, really, let's just put my ex-girlfriend on the tabloids and have her blast it out. And then, this is how the rich get richer, bro. I mean, but
Oh
with
my
that being
God.
said, dude, look at this chart on Tron. Look at BNB. I mean, BNB is finally coming back down to reality as well. I am going to be if we sweep this right in here at $500, anywhere between 250 and 500, guys, do not be fooled.
500 seemed
Binance-
like this stronghold that Binance just would not let BNB fall under in
for
that.
a very long time.
Right.
I mean, for 500 days, dude. So
Yeah.
if we again, fool me once, fool me twice, we know the story, stick to the stronger projects. I think that after hearing how Vitalik pretty much said that layer 2s are toast,
I know.
he smoked them. He did it on purpose, dude. I mean, he smoked them. And now it's layer 1s are the play, baby. We're back to layer 1s. Remember how we had these layer 2s, the Starknets, the
Optimism hit
layer
$5.
zeros, dude.
It was crazy. Now Optimism is like 20 cents or something like that.
18, 15 cents, man. Again, I'm looking at the strong. I'm looking at again Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, BNB, Tron. I'm not going to be playing the game, dude, where you do realize that if $1 billion gets minted, it goes on both Ethereum, Tron.
Right.
It doesn't.
Right.
It's just the stable coins market is getting way out of control. And I would also like to show that too, man, because most people don't understand. Look at
I
this.
loved your insight on the Tether chart and like when the juicy times to short come in. Look at that wick that just happened on this. This is on the weekly. What is that?
Dude? Yeah, dude, this is on the weekly. I remember I was telling you guys that if this thing gets ready to cook this, you guys, I literally said this last week on your stream. If this breaks here, guys, get ready for a serious capitulation. And
Right.
Look what happened. It just melted the market. We almost took out all the highs, bro. I couldn't. Now, this could be a top. This could be a top on USDT.
Okay.
I do believe, like, if we just go down to like a lower time frame, this is why we're seeing the relief rally today. People are getting into the buys. People are getting into all of this stuff, but you don't want to see this thing start finding support. You don't want to see, man, this bad boy coming to here.
And this is Tether on the smaller time frame, right?
This is on a 1 hour, but still, even if you go to a daily, dude, you don't want to see this thing start finding support like this and rip again. Because then that just means that it truly is a dead cat bounce, and you're going to have the tether hoarders like me watching this like a hawk saying, okay, let's short that 72.
It's turned into my second favorite crypto outside of Bitcoin over the course of 2025 with how lackluster alts were, dude. Like it was Tether and Bitcoin turned into my favorite altcoins and now, or my favorite crypto projects or whatever, I guess you can call Bitcoin. I want to keep rolling through the altcoins here because some people got some good questions. Let's look at I know we covered Chainlink, but honestly, I think we need to readdress Chainlink today because it has a very lackluster movement. It's only up by about Now it's up by 3.9% on the day. It is showing some sign on the life at 2%, but overall it's down by 18% on the week. So I'm seeing some concerns here. Some, it's not coming back up in tandem with the rest of the market right now.
I would say, man, that if we can't recover back above 950, if we can't recover back above 950, if it does not recover above 950, then we're going to end up falling down into that 650 range, 650, somewhere in between this big volume right in here, dude. Let's go here to this. Let's go here. I go here to here. You could see right into the center, and this is where it held. You see, like right in here?
The point of control in that channel.
Right in here, dude. So the thing is that if we cannot recover back above this, there's a pretty good shot, man, that we're gonna get vacuum sucked down into back into the center of this, dude, which is gonna be between 650 and 650 and 750, somewhere right in here, dude. It's gonna end up filling this wick somewhere in here. And again, we see this and we start doing these accumulations. I like these round out methods, man. This is how I know it's time to take serious longs when we're accumulating. I have defined stop losses. I know exactly, dude, it's really easy to higher probability. If we come down like this, dude, and we start rounding out in this and we start tailing out, then, but the problem is, man, I said this on the other stream too, guys. If Canton can come out of nowhere and really catch the grounding with institutions, what's to say, dude, that Google, Amazon Web Services, guys, we're talking a $3 trillion market cap. These guys spend, again, think about it this way. Meta spent $70 billion. Meta spent $70 billion, you guys, to build the metaverse. What's to stop any of these tech giants to creating the next big Oracle, the next big RWA layer one?
Scary thought. It's a scary thought, dude. And what you're saying about Canton is crazy and real. Like, Canton came out of nowhere. We literally covered Canton, and I did a dedicated video on Canton before it even released. And I loaded up on it actually at 7 cents in a more robust manner. This thing has now hit number 14 in terms of size of market cap. If you just include all of the stable coins, how many are these? So you got 1, you got 2. It's number 12. It's the 12th biggest crypto project out there.
Oh yeah, gotcha.
That's insane. So let's talk about Canton a little bit. So it's at $17.70 or 17 cents rather, and chart looking vicious. I took a little bit off the table when we were talking about it. Basically at this level, I think it was like 2 or 3 days ago, right? And I was happy. I got cheaper Bitcoin. Bitcoin is just like collapsing while I was taking profits on Canton.
Awesome, dude. Yeah, the fact that you're up 4x, dude, and that you're able to buy Bitcoin on a dip, it never happens that way. You never have a perfect scenario at a top while you got a perfect scenario at a bottom.
Right.
It's a blessing. It's a blessing.
And I'm sitting here like waiting for the pullback essentially now on Canton. Like I know it's come screaming out of the, and I completely acknowledge it's kind of hard to do TA without a bunch of data on Canton. We don't have a bunch of data on Canton other than that it's moving a lot of money. It's being used by institutions. And I know that they hate retail. They hate me. They hate anyone that was able to get in on this thing and is making money off of it. But from the chart perspective, I mean, this is kind of chaos, but what are your reactions with Canton and where it's bouncing and kind of finding resistance levels at right now? I'm gonna pull this up. So it's kind of hard, but it bounced hard off that trend line.
We bounced hard off of this trend line, but this move right here, guys, is very similar to this dead cat bounce right in here. Get ready for this.
Okay.
Get ready for this.
So if something like that occurs, what would that level be? Because I know DZ was looking at like 13 cents, which made sense for me just looking at it. But what do you see on this? Just to get some like kind of confluence or maybe a different opinion.
Yeah, dude, this is it. I think this thing's getting ready to roll over, brother. And when I pull these fib levels, you guys can see here, we kind of let's go from here to here. Let's make sure I have it on the dot. So even if we go like to the candle bodies, I do both. I do wicks and candle bodies to see. So you can see just right up to that golden pocket, man, up to the upside, and then rolled straight over. Rolled straight over. This is very, very, very similar. Now what I would do is I would pull the fibs from the big range. If you guys want to get any type of fibs, this would be the new range from this high to this low, and it's going to fall, I bet you, right down into here, which is going to be like 13 cents. So
Okay.
I'd
You
be
and
looking
DZ
right
are
at
arriving at the same destination then from a different roadway. This is interesting for me to hear.
13 cents if you want to see the big image, the big photo right in here, dude.
Yeah.
So you can see this would be considered very local, very local. This is very macro on this bigger time frame. And then ultimately, dude, because it has these radical dumps, look at how perfect this is on this dump. Now that you guys can see it, 10 to 12 cents, man, if this thing starts buckling. You know what I mean? It's still very, very, very new. It's still got a lot of hype to it, which means that, guys, if they're a smart project, maybe they start offloading. They do these things. They need to, if they have to sell during a bear market to survive and continue to build and pay devs and the works, man. Even if there's big players backing them, dude, it's just they gotta keep everybody happy. And so
absolutely.
Yeah, between 10 and 13 cents, dude. 10 and 13 cents.
Okay. Now Bitcoin is at $70,232. So just to reiterate the kind of the game plan, because it's Friday, you know, we're probably going to go eat a bunch of barbecue food and drink beers or wine. And, you know, I just want to have these numbers in mind as we go. I think the candle close for the weekly happens Sunday night. Am I mistaken in that? When does this weekly
2 hours and 7 minutes.
Okay.
Hold on.
Okay. So basically, we need to break above 70 and turn that, or 72 rather, and turn it into support. Are you going to be kind of back in the heavy short mode if you see us fail to be able to kind of hold that level from where we're at right now?
So let's just put it this way, dude. Anytime we have a $12,000 move down and a $10,000 move up, this is, dude, I want to see Bitcoin flip some of this into support on the way down. I'd like to see Bitcoin come back down to 66.7, hold, work its way out. This thing is just right now, what you're witnessing right now, dude, is a squeeze. You're just witnessing, again, I do not like these. Look, dude, I do not like these V shapers ever. Ever. Any of these.
Very interesting.
And the thing is too, even if we go out to like a daily here, man, this is a massive downtrend. We got to get above 72, 73 and hold for a day, dude. I want to see it hold, but you know, I told the communities, man, this is right in here. It's just shortened territory, bro. This is just flat shortened territory all the way up here to the top of this. So yeah, I'm going to be watching. If we come up into here, just with my trading strategy, I would want to move. Just even if we come up to this top and squeeze high, even back down as a 3, dude, these are massive moves with a little bit of leverage. 3s, 2s, 5%. I mean, these are fat trades.
Right.
Yeah, and it's pumping like a raging bull right now, dude. I mean, it's, gosh dang it, dude. I had this trade. I was in at 63, like 400 on last night.
Oh. Well, in my mind, it's just like, I'm not like, I like trading ranges more. And so like in general, I've just been doing a lot of spot Bitcoin buys.
63,900, dude. I mean, I was hunting for this thing last night. I got blown out of the water by almost $17,000, dude, just trying to hunt for it. And then I finally caught it. It was up to 50, 60 G's. And I said, dude, it started pulling back. And I'm like, dude, I need to get out of this trade. I don't want to round trip this. This would have been the one that I was hunting for, bro. This would have been the $120,000 banger.
She's looking hungry for that, at least a tap into that 71, 72 mark. Very interesting.
Something else here. Let's go over here. Let's go to our heat map. We'll get on the a Model 2 here. We'll go out to like a weekly. I want to see something real quick.
Let's see. Let's look at liquid. And then Byron was bringing up SWI. I keep getting asked about SWI by a lot of people, honestly. So, you know, if we have time, I want to look at SWI. You're getting locked out of liquidity. They don't want you seeing these levels anymore. They're like, we're cutting this guy off. He's printing too much money. They're mad at
They're
you.
not wanting to do it. They're not wanting to do it. What's the next one that he wants to see? Real quick?
SWE. Byron was bringing up SWE, and like SWE, it had so much momentum in 2024, and like it received all of the love when altcoins were receiving any love. Like SWE was the darling of this market for a really long time, and now a lot of the music has stopped. And I think I saw SWE drop under $1 yesterday. You know, I really think that
80 cents, dude. Dropped to 78 cents, man.
did it really? I mean, I'll pull it up on my screen while you work on that. But SWE is something that's like this is its first bear market moment.
Yep.
And when I see a new project kind of get initiated into the space with these first bear market moments, it's starting to fall into the guts of where a lot of this volume action happened.
That's my level is right there. And I say it, man. Yeah, again, my eyes are strained, dude. When you're sitting in the dark, being Schmiegel. These projects, like you said, dude, are about to be battle tested through their first bear market.
Yeah.
So if you're a SUI fanatic, dude, it's a layer one. Momentum can still come back. It's still building, guys. Just understand, like I said, and follow Discover Crypto, guys. Get inside of the Discord and get this information. But we don't have earning statements, guys. Weeklies, monthlies. We don't have these things. Tabloids. You guys got to start doing this information where, you know, you look at the blockchain. Is it still active? Are they making active partnerships? Is the dev team still building? These are the things that you got. You guys just don't go and buy SUI because somebody told you to.
Right.
You don't go and buy Chainlink because somebody told you to. These are the things that you guys need to do if you're gonna put this towards your investment portfolio.
Oh, and this is like
like
kind of my
SUI.
process is I'll look at like the chart and generally just what the candles look like. The TVL is concerning to me on SWE. Like the TVL data
Bleeding
on
out.
DeFi Llama is, it's bleeding out. Let's add a little bit of information here. Let's add revenue, maybe perps volume. Let's some net inflows as well. Yeah, so the revenue is looking pretty dang flat. Let's go into net inflows here just to see what the general metrics on net inflows. I'll take away app revenue so we can get this data. Give me the inflows. It's not even wanting to give me the inflows on this. But generally, like if I'm lifting the skirt on SWE, I'm concerned about the fact that it lost the $1 billion mark in TVL. I am very concerned about that. And this looks like a quick ride downtown to, 300 mil in TVL. A lot of the action in terms of today, just looking at this, I love this camera setup for us. This makes it so much easier to show the actual like larger. It's back at $1.
I like this setup too. This is great.
It's much better.
Killed it.
It's much better. I'm concerned. Like I'm concerned. I think here's what I think happened. I think the altcoin blow off top that a lot of these altcoin firms were planning on happening at the end of 2025 never came. There's still not dead bodies up to the top of the river from the 10/10 event. And then we just saw Bitcoin pull back by like what? 10-15% over the course of 24 hours. I think a lot of these altcoins were swimming naked and many of them died, but the body is not going to be shown to the public until months from now. That's my personal hunch. I'm not saying that I'm 100% sure, but my gut has really helped me avoid catastrophe in crypto for multiple cycles. And my gut says that the pain is not done. Steve-O, you know what? I like as many posts as I see it. Even if I hate what you're saying, Steve-O, I like your post. But
the other thing, like I like what Piano Manny B said yesterday, dude. If it's part of a gang or if it's part of a huge community, just look at the ADA gang, dude. ADA is just demolished, bro. I have it pulled up right now. It's bad.
Yeah, you should pull it up on your. You should pull it up on your screen. Shout out to Kelly Kellum. Actually, Kelly is behind. He's building this in the background, and I can't wait for him to get his studio set back up. He puts out these pretty concise market reports every single morning, And this is a
Kelly in a
great
minute. Where's he been, dude?
rundown for anyone that wants to get all the information in one spot. He's putting these reports out on the blockchain or on Discover Crypto on the X account for Discover Crypto. But I do want to look at Cardano now. I do want to look at Cardano. Let's pull it up here. Oh God.
If you're part of the ADA gang, baby, and you think that this is going to be, and Charles Hoskinson is the savior in the Senate, and he's doing it all, dude, and all this stuff, and you believe that this joker comes out and he goes, I'm down $3 billion, and I just don't really care because I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it for the tech. The fuck?
You did a really good impression there. I thought he just appeared on the show here. Hold on.
Guys in the dev teams and what we're doing with Midnight. Bro, get out of here, bro. You're fucking us up, bro. You're just get out of here, bro. You know, let me see, dude. I wish I had my blue lights over here. I'd give you a real good impression, dude. And just, you know, dude, I can't. And it's gonna be taking time, and we're gonna build these things, and we will have the elections on chain and midnight security and privacy, and we won't get you fucked anymore.
You have listened to him too much. You are too good at this. This is concerning.
Yeah, bro.
Concerning to me.
I'm a trader, dude. I want to punch out as much USDT as we can, up and down, and I like nice things, bro. I like nice things, and you know what,
dude? I love my TRD, the Sequoia, but that fucking truck, that is dirty.
I'll send
That's
you a real
the Cowboy
picture of it,
Cadillac.
dude. Yeah, I love my limited, dude. I love my truck.
I'm still a Toyota Maxi, and like nothing's gonna shake me out of my Toyota, but that's a good ride you picked up.
My wife until we're thinking about maybe moving to Florida, and but in time, dude. I mean, dude, my wife's like, hey, let's just get a couple more things. I know you're on a roll right now. Let's finish out your goal is December 29th or 31st of 26. Let's see where we go. I'm getting a McLaren 765 LT.
Oh my God, you're going for the McLaren?
I'm gonna get me. I'm not gonna buy no base model Huracan, dude. I'm getting me that. Let's just see how this year. And again, it's all if then. I keep telling myself it's an if then.
Yeah. If you sound like me, when I was like, all right, if things go just okay, I'm gonna get a Sequoia. If they go amazing, I'm getting a Resvani. Things didn't go great. Things didn't go to the point where I picked up a Resvani. It went to the point where I picked up a Sequoia. You know what I mean? So the truth is in the middle there somewhere.
Yeah, dude. I would say just everyone, now's the time to be following again. Good channels, man. Good channels, and you know, get inside of the Discover Crypto. Make sure to follow. Get inside of the Discord. You know, guys, they got a quant team that are making trades. You guys could follow me for I don't do tabloids and news. I execute live trading almost every single day. You guys, we need real ones in the space that are doing this consistently. And so make sure
we got the ADA chart up. I think it's fair enough to, you know, dig into ADA. Full disclosure, I said it on my show. I got out of ADA at $1. We kept hitting our damn head against it. I didn't have the blow off top. Trump literally tweeted that Cardano was part of the strategic altcoin reserve for the United States. And we had a moment where it ran, but then it lost. Look at that. Right where, just to the left of Crank's shoulder. Yeah. So can you go over this chart and just give me your honest opinion of it? I know that we're at extreme lows right now, but just give me that honest opinion.
Let's go to an ADA USD, dude, and we'll go out all the way out. So on a Coinbase, hold on. We'll go out to like a Coinbase. Something stupid long. You guys could see here, since inception, man, we're here. If you are a Cardano believer and you guys think that, you know, I hate to say it, and I said it to TJ, but this coin, dude, reminds me of EOS.
Oh no.
I mean, I hate to say it, dude. It's like to me dark. It is dark, dude. But all we're waiting for is him to leave the project and then just put the nail in the coffin. Boom.
Oh my God.
dude, all we need him to do at this point is fucking leave the I'm off to better things, and it's because I'm part of the Midnight Crew. And
I need to block Charles from you so you can't get any better at that impression. That is too good.
But in all reality, though, man, you know, I don't know enough about projects to have a conviction. Other than the people that back them. I'm a CZ fan. I'm a Justin Sun Tron fan. I'm a Vitalik fan. I like our boy over at Chainlink. You know what I mean?
Sergey.
Sergey, another savior, dude. In the
Where is
Senate.
Sergey though? Like he has been really
Sheesh,
quiet
dude.
during the. Like I haven't heard from him since he was in like Washington D.C. or something like that.
I haven't seen him one time since he had the round table meeting and the
Right.
blockchain bullshit, and I haven't seen him one time. And then same thing with what's his name from Solana. I like Solana. You know, I had a really good talk with Crypto Blood, man, on that live stream, and he's taking his bet, man. You know, not financial advice, but he's not an Ethereum player. He really likes Solana, and its ecosystem and its trends, its TPS, all of this. And so, me personally, I'm gonna stack. I want to be very patient until we start getting some clear supports, man. And right now we are in a bear market. I can firmly say this though: 4-year cycle is still intact. We are in a bear market. 26 should be a bear market coming in from until about August, September. We start rounding out into next year. We start our large accumulation phase, and then it's off to the races for 2020, late 27, 28, 29. Get ready, because Bitcoin is going to nuke past 126.
Yeah. No, I mean, I have nothing about this 54% pullback in Bitcoin has shaken my resolve in Bitcoin at all. It's actually like, you know, the most aggravating situation for me would be if what Standard Chartered says is going to happen does, and we just have this macro V-shaped recovery and just completely leave all of these lows in the dust, bounce right out of this. I mean, that would be probably the most aggravating thing for me.
It is
we're
Bitcoin.
already at 71. What's that?
It is Bitcoin. I said it is Bitcoin. That can
I
happen.
know. It does the things that aggravate us the most. Frank, where can people stay up to date with you? We got people in the chat singing your praises. I sing your praises. You helped me make Tether on the way down into these guttural low levels that we've experienced over the, you know, kind of this week so far. Where can people keep up with you at, brother?
Guys, get on over to X at Real Crypto Crank. Get us out of the Discord if you guys have any questions for me, trades, projects. You guys kind of know where I stand. And then also on YouTube, it's just at Crypto Crank, guys.
Love it.
Thank you so much to Discover Crypto, guys, for TJ, you guys, just a blessing, man. You guys are real ones, man, helping me grow my audience, and I love giving you guys information how I can in an honest way. It's all about honesty.
Well, when you first came in, I was like, this guy's crazy. And then and then Piano Manny B says the same shit. Then the quat comes in. I was like, okay, Frank's not crazy. I was a little emotional at 100K. All I had to do was flip the chart upside down and everything started to make sense. All I did was just right click.
Money with emotions, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
don't do that.
It's great advice. Do not trade with emotions. Stay focused. And now we're going to talk about some insane things on the blockchain basement that have been on my mind for a little bit of time. So make sure to stay locked in, guys. Crank, have a fantastic weekend. Everyone out there, have a fantastic weekend. Like the show, share the show, and we will see you very, very soon.
We just wanted to take a quick second to shout out our sponsor, Arculus. They are a cold storage hardware wallet, helps you secure all of your digital assets for the future. Just tap this thing to the back of your phone and boom, you're in. We wouldn't be able to do this without them, but also wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, the Disco fam. You've supported us a lot over the years. If you want to support the channel now, just use the code DC20. It gets you 20% off this card. It's the #1 way you can support this channel going forward. Thank you for your support. We'll see you at the top.